Hello viewers, welcome to another edition on God's Eye, where we would be bringing you latest happenings around the globe. Before we proceed, please take a second of your time and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit the notification bell for latest update. Putin's ally predict the end of our planet with nuclear red line warnings. Ever since Russian President Vladimir Putin threatened the possibility of nuclear war, political and military leaders have weighed the possible consequences. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko has warned that ally the Kremlin will not use nuclear weapons. Although it never planned, the Russian leader warned that it would fight back if cornered. As Ukraine strengthens its defenses and its counterattack incapacitates Russian forces, Putin's rhetoric has become more aggressive, and the Russian president has sought to defend his recently annexed territories against the Eastern European nation. Threatened to launch a nuclear attack in an interview with NBC News on Friday, Lukashenko said Putin could continue his attacks on the country more brutally than ever if certain red lines were crossed in Ukraine. Lukashenko cited Putin's missile attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure that killed civilians and destroyed bridges, buildings and power plants, and said more such attacks could occur if Putin was cornered. Ricefield. Lukashenko added that Russia has modern weapons and does not need nuclear weapons to win the war. He said he believed the threat of nuclear war was merely politically motivated, but if it happened, destruction would continue, not just in Ukraine. It will be the end of our planet, Lukashenko said. If one country uses nuclear weapons, there will be a chain reaction. Russia understands this very well. And what I want to emphasize is that from President Putin himself, I am sure that no one has set himself the task of using nuclear weapons. But Michael Comessi, a history professor and director at the Catholic University of America, told Newsweek that Lukashenko was an ally of the Kremlin and that his message was nothing short of intimidating. Could also be a response to President Joe Biden's statements about how the United States would intervene if necessary, and the European Union statement that it supported a direct attack on Russia. Stated, "This is no coincidence. This is being done in close coordination with the Kremlin." Kimmich said he has two purposes for this post. One, to generate an emotional response, because nothing else works in Russia's war against Ukraine, and the other, which he uses mainly for domestic consumption in Russia. "We are tough, we don't back down and we have the weapons," he added. But Kimmich told his Newsweek that Lukashenko was probably right. A nuclear war could lead to massive escalation by the US. "It's hard to imagine the Russians not responding with their own escalation," Kimmich said, adding that the war cycle was much more frightening than the Cuban Missile Crisis. Kimmich said Russia's only other tactic might be to wait out the winter and monitor the damage to the European economy to see if Allied support for Ukraine weakens. Meanwhile, Lukashenko on Friday urged political parties to find a peaceful solution to the war, touting the benefits it would bring to all countries, including the United States.